Hi guys, it's Emily from Nobel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my February wrap-up part 2. Now, the stats will be in the first few minutes, probably up to 5 minutes, because I've got a fair few stats to go through. So if you want to miss that bit, skip ahead. But it's been nowhere near as good a reading month as January. When I explain my star ratings, you will completely understand why. But I have had some surprises. The second half has been way better than the first half. And all I can say is thank goodness for mood reading, because mood reading is really saving me at the moment. I have managed to have a big surprise, which I will explain in a minute. And I'm quite happy with this wrap up, to be honest. I've also got a new haircut. I treated myself because it's my birthday next week. Be less than a week by the time this goes live. I thought I would treat myself to a haircut. I'm going to have a pampering makeup session with my sister Charlie next Monday. We're going to go and get some makeup and some treats, which you'll obviously see in the vlog when that goes up. So just to say, there will be a reading vlog going up, the Wednesday, exactly a week after my birthday, because I'm going to celebrate with my birthday bonanza week. But enough of that, let's get on with the stats, because there are quite a few. So yeah, I kind of bought 30 books last month. You'll see in the book haul that I recorded, a lot of those were books. So I think 17 of those were bought when I went book shopping with Gemma from Read a Book Gem, which you saw when I had my Valentine's Week vlog, which I'll link below. So 17 of those books were bought then, and I also kind of started at my charity bookshop. Yeah, that's been a big thing. I think my wrap-ups are also going to include life things. I started at my volunteer work at Baz Books. So I'm just trying to limit myself to 5 books a week maximum. But I kind of went one over last week. But I love it. I do 3 hours a week there. I've got my 1 hour week working for Rainbows, plus my job. So yeah, my chronic pain's playing up a little bit, but I'm happy. So that's the most important thing. So I bought 30. Gemma gave me 3. Like I said, those you'll see in my thingy. I read 31 books from my unread shelf. I am well happy with that. And I unhauled 10 off of 10 unread books. So that's like 41 books that have gone down. So as you can well tell, if you're any good with maths, there was some good news this month. My January unread TBR was 441 books. My February unread TBR is 433. So the way I'm going, I will definitely get to my 400 books by the end of the year. I think realistically, if I can gradually get it down, I think 400 probably be 350 to 400 is probably where I want it to sort of stay, because I want to I like having a big unread TBR, but you never know. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to put pressure on myself, but I do feel good at getting my physical unread TBR down. Sorry, I keep playing my hair up and just washed it. So I read 33 books this month. Yes, I am well happy with that. Just realised I've got one book in the wrong order. So I finished I'm recording this on the 28th. So I finished my last book this morning. I am going to start my March books a day early, but I won't finish them. I'm going to really try today to not necessarily focus on reading, but catch up on jobs and get other things done, because next week's going to be mad. So here's the stats for the genres. I read 1 fantasy, bit less, but I'm happy with that enough. 2 non-fiction. I really will have to stop playing my hair. Sorry about this, guys. I wish I was one of you guys that edits. 2 non-fiction books, 2 thriller books, 4 classics. Yay! Admittedly, one of those is a carry-on from last month, like Vanity Fair, but that was good. And then, for the first time in ages, I've got exactly the same number of historical fiction as I've got contemporary. I've got 12 historical fiction and 12 contemporary. Yes! Another big plus. I'm really happy on that. I've got 1 unrated book. I've read 5 2-star books. Yeah, that was crap. This really was, like I said, this was a really crap reading month. 9 3-star rating books, which is the highest actually of all the ratings for the month. So that is a lot of meh books. They're good, but they're not fantastic. 1 3.5 star, 8 4-star, which is good. 4 stars is still a great book. 2 4.5 stars. Again, that's really good. 7 5 stars. But I must admit, 5 of them were from this half, and the same way like my 2 stars, 4 of them were from the first half. So that tells you how much better I've got the second half of the month. So that's the stats. I'll talk about it in 5 minutes. It's pretty much bang on. Now to show you the books that I've read. I won't go into too much detail because otherwise this video would be massive and I've got to make lunch. I'm hungry. But I'll show you the first 2 stars, and this was my one that disappointed me the most, and that is Working Wonders by Jenny Colgan. It's one of her earliest books, and you know her earliest books for me are not working. So I'm not going to stress myself to read her back catalogue. I think I'm just going to focus more on her newer books because they get a lot better rating, and she's definitely got better. But this was about a work environment, and I don't really know much more than that. It's about... See, this is the thing, when some of these books are just so meh. It was talking about there was a relationship, there was a working business, and I don't really remember much else. So I think I skim read most of that. So that was very meh. The next one is from my Try Chapter tag. And, well, it's 3 stars. The next ones are all my 3-star books. On The Other Side of You by Sally Vickers. I don't think her writing's for me. I think I like The Librarian by her, but this is not for me. Charlie from Charles Heathcote, if you want this book, let me know and I will send it to you. It's not the best copy, but it's one of her back catalogue books. And it is quite good. And I know you've not read it, but I want to know if you want it, I'll send it to you. One day, a failed suicide, Elizabeth Cruikshank, is admitted to the care of psychiatrist David McBride. She is mysterious, reticent, and it's not until he recalls a painting by Caravaggio that she's moved to recount her story. As her account unfolds, David finds himself unusually touched by the patient's story of her tragic dereliction of love and trust, and a haunting sense that his elusive patient's life has special resonance for the hidden other side of his own. This is interesting, and I did read it quite quickly, but again, it didn't grab me as much as I wanted it to. So it's going to be on hold. The next one was a book that I buddy read with Naomi. I think she only probably buddy read really the first 100 pages of this. It has made me again quite reticent myself of Karen Swan's work because I didn't love her Christmas book as much as I wanted it to, and this one had potential and it really did improve. Like, it started off as a 2-star. I didn't connect with the main characters. I found it hard. But then when I got into it, I did enjoy it a lot more. And I think it's had potential. It's historical fiction, which I didn't realise. It has dual timelines, Charlotte Fairfax's story and a story of it's set in the young time, pre-war, I think. And one of Spain's richest men is dying, but as he prepares his estate, his family is shocked to discover he's making plans to give away his wealth to a young woman they've never heard of. And when you go back in time and find out the history behind it, I did really enjoy. The more I read, the more I enjoyed. So yes, this is 3 stars, but I wouldn't say it's like a low 3 stars, but you really have to push past the start where I really didn't connect and really get in. And Charlotte's character was really likeable, and the history element was all right, but actually I preferred the modern day bits than I did the history bits, if that makes sense, which doesn't happen very often. So it's all right, just not great. So it's not the one I'm going to keep. Second is Vanity Fair. It's only 3 stars. I really cannot decide whether I want to keep this because I keep a lot of my classics or get rid of it because I didn't connect with it. I was doing it for lovely Tori from Hufflepuff Discovery's read along, but it was about the Napoleonic Wars. I didn't connect with it. I liked Amelia. I didn't like the leading lady, Becky Sharp. I thought she was a spoilt brat and she really wound me up. But I did love her friend, I think, Amelia Sedley. Less lustrous, but more ambiguous. And I thought she was a lot more interesting. I think this might be one, actually. I think I'm going to keep this because it might be better on a reread because I'm having a real classics at the moment. And it's not the worst of the classics I've read this month. There's a great quantity of eating and drinking, making love and jilting. This one might be good to reread when I've got a bit more time to think about it, but still only 3 stars. I will keep that, I think. The next one was about a book I randomly picked off my shelves when I was mood reading, and that was The Queen of New Beginnings by Erica James. And again, this has quite a good concept in the fact that don't we all like to make new beginnings for ourselves? Don't we all like to change our lives and recreate history and change things? And I think that element was quite good. Clayton Miller's Life is a Mess. He's a comedy scriptwriter, and then he steals the story of this girl who comes into his life, and he steals her story to make a script. But her story is really fascinating, and it's really quite an interesting book. It's quite a good book, but Erica James is again another author that's very 3 stars. So I won't pay too much for her books. It's probably not one of her best books in my opinion, this author, but it was quite good. 3 stars, but not one I'm going to keep. Now the book that I am rating controversially only 3 stars, because a lot of other people loved it, and apparently everyone was like screaming at me that I only rated this 3 stars, American Dirt. This was my TBR jar pick, and I had such high potential to it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, and I am really sorry, guys. This is about like Mexican and drugs cartels, and like a journalist, Luca, she sort of picks up her son, and she at the start she owns a bookshelf in Acapulco and is married to fearless journalist Luca, and then one bullet rips their lives apart, and she takes Luca on a journey to America to escape the drug cartel, to escape it all, and she'll do whatever she can take to keep her son alive. I was currently watching a TV on Netflix called Ozark, and that's about drug cartels, and probably why I didn't like it as much, because I found the storyline in Ozark a lot better than this, and yeah, it kind of drew too many parallels for me. There is controversy behind this book anyway, and it has potential, but I didn't connect. I got angry at Lydia because I know she was trying to save her son, but some of the risks they took were quite hard. There were some quite gory scenes in this, quite a lot of drugs and drug cartels and things like that, and it was just not for me, unfortunately, so I'm not going to keep that. Then I read another mood read, was The Little Tea Shop of Lost and Found by Trisha Ashley. And again, to me, she is not as good a contemporary author as I like. I got this for only 20p at a charity shop, so I'm not fussed that this was only 3 stars. But I liked the whole tea shop concept, and yet it didn't focus as much on that. It focused a lot more on the leading characters' lives. And yes, she was a foundling, and I did love the founding element. I loved the fact they mixed in the Brontes. There was a lot of connections to do with the Brontes, because it's set where they were, and set in Yorkshire where they were. And I think the fact, how are things and the element, that bit I really enjoyed. Like I said, I love foundlings. I love the whole Bronte. Any book that's got the Brontes in it is going to grab my heart. But I didn't like Alice's story. There were so many bits in this book that I just flew through and skim read. And if I skim read a book, it's obviously not good enough. So it was all right, but I'm giving this back to the charity shop. Okay, so I'm going to start realising what I do. Now I've got a 3.5 star book, and then the 4 stars. And the 3.5 star is The Other Countess by Eve Edwards. This is a romance. It's a bit of a saucy romance. It's set in 1582. So this was not Tudor as I thought it was. It's actually Elizabethan, because it was set when Elizabeth was queen. And we've got a lovely romance between Ellie and William Lacey, and Will's head's been turned by Ellie, and he knows he shouldn't be with Ellie because Ellie's not got money and he needs to marry someone with money. And there's a lot of things like that in it. It's quite a good fun romance. I read it because Valentine's week, because it's pink, and I thought it looked like quite a good romance to read. It was good. It's better than those books. I flew through it, but really enjoyed it. I really actually did properly read this. So I did enjoy it, but it's not one I'm going to keep. So if you like a bit of saucy romance in a Tudor read kind of book, that's quite good. Now to my 4 stars. Now for me, 4 stars is good. It's one that I may keep, I may not, but it's a very good book. It's one that I really enjoyed, but didn't quite have the 5 star, I want to keep it kind of book. But it's one I enjoyed. I don't always keep 4 stars. First one is Wolf Hall. Now, if you were to ask me in the first half of Wolf Hall what I was going to rate it in January, I probably would have rated it 3 stars. And then the second half happened. It got a lot more exciting, a lot more interesting. I started reading in big chapters rather than reading a certain amount a day, and that's what I'm going to do going for Bring Up the Bodies. This is Thomas's Cromwell story, and I didn't know that going in as much as I should have done. And I actually, Thomas Cromwell, in all the other Tudor books I've read, I've hated him. But when you get to know his backstory, I actually grew to like him, and I actually grew to feel quite sorry for him. This is the bit where Anne Boleyn's getting into court, and Henry VIII's being a bit of a bugger, and I liked that, and I really enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. I'm loving doing the walk all along. Next week, I think it's next Sunday, I'm going to do a Zoom chat with Tori and Marissa from Later University. It's my co-host, which I'll link down below, and I'll link that, and we're going to do a Zoom chat, and that will go live on Marissa's channel. I don't know when exactly the date is, but I'll let you know when I know, because I'm no good at editing and I can't do that myself, so I can't record it all. But this is brilliant. It's a brilliant book. It's definitely slow paced. It's definitely one you need to really take your time on, but I would say read it in bigger chunks, because that was the way I enjoyed it more. So I did really like that. So you'll obviously see more of my thoughts on that in the Zoom chat. Then a book I picked up on Valentine's week. This is a really fun book. I am definitely going to read more of Annabelle's works because they made me laugh. This is about Instagram, quite a lot on Instagram. So see, I'm on Instagram quite a lot. She's an influencer, and that bit, obviously, regarding to what we sort of go through on Instagram, is quite interesting. But she has something bad that happens at the start of the book, and it's to do with grief. So there are some triggers on this, so let me know if you want to know them. But she decides, Izzy Brown agrees to fake date her colleague Luke to boost her profile, but against her better judgment, she tells fibs and she pretends she's dating this guy. But then this other guy comes in, Aidan, who a mysterious stranger who saved her the day her world fell apart. I love Aidan, but I found that bit quite unrealistic, that he's not on any form of social media. Now, I know Chris is hardly on social media, my man, but even he would have picked up on some of the things that Aidan's missing. And that guy Luke is a dick. And I know I shouldn't give spoilers on that, but he's a complete dick, and I wanted to fucking shoot him. I really did. But this is a really good fun. There is some real comedy elements in this, as well as some harder hitting bits. But yeah, not one to keep. And my cat's now snoring. Good YA Sarah Barnard book. This again has real triggers in this, so please, this is Sarah Barnard's book, and it's written over a very short period of time. When I was wild, you were steady. Now you are wild, what am I? And it's very YA. It's about a girl whose best friend runs away, and she's trying to protect her best friend. Her best friend is a loyal straight A student, and then the whole world's shocked that her and her family is shocked when Bonnie disappears. She runs away with a guy, and a guy that Eden knows nothing about. This has real triggers on this, so be warned going in. But it's very YA. 4 stars. It's brilliant written, and if I was that age, I would probably love it even more. But yeah, it's really good, but very YA. Sarah Barnard's books are very YA. Now, the next one was a book I picked up as an extra one, and it's Dawn Porter's book, The Cows. I've loved her YA books, and this is probably one of my first adult books for her. And it's a piece of meat born to breed and past its sell-by date, one of the herd, is what the description of a cow. 3 women, a whole world of judgment. Tara, Cam and Stella are very different women, yet something happens and then it connects all their stories. But there is a character in here who again annoyed the hell out of me. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, because it will give spoilers. And there are some very unrealistic bits in it, but the principle behind the book is good. That we shouldn't always follow the crowd. We should follow the herd. We should actually have the strength to stand up for ourselves and be true to who we really are. And that principle behind the book, and friendships that appear in unlikely places, is very good. There's so many real morals and stories and things that you could learn from this book that I would say is good. But there are some bits that are very unrealistic, and that's what kind of knocked it from a 5-star to a 4. And some bits that I thought wouldn't really happen. So yeah, that's good, but not one I'm going to reread. And this actually should be 3 stars, and I put it on the 4-star pile. Sorry, this is a 3-star book that Charlie from Charles Heathcote gave to me, and that's The Rose of Sebastian. It's set in Russia in 1854 in the Crimean War. And as it grinds on, Rosa Barr, a young, headstrong, beautiful girl, travels to the battlefields, determined to save as many as she can. Loved the references to the infamous Florence Nightingale. I loved the fact that this woman was so strong, and she stood up and she treated the sick, and there were some medical things, and it's proved about how we can stand up for ourselves and be stronger than we think we can be. And that is good. It's a good 3-star, but again, not one I do keep. Now the next one is a 4 stars, but oh my god, it's like a 4-star, but it could have been 4.5, almost 5. But yeah, I think this is probably near 4.5 stars, and that's The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I picked this up because Alice from the Alice's Giant Bookshelf, I was like going to her, I said, I need a thriller, I need a book that I know is going to be good, and thrillers have really been proving really handy to me at the moment. They've been proving really exciting and a surprise. I'll talk to you more about that on my video that I've got coming up in April, because I'm going to be 3 years on BookTube in April. But Alice recommended that I pick this up, and it's by the author of The Hunting Party, and what I can say is, if you've read The Hunting Party and liked it, fair enough, pick this up. But if you didn't like The Hunting Party, do not pick this up, because there are a lot of similarities between this and The Hunting Party. And the ending, to me, intermixed too many connections that wouldn't necessarily... There's too many, too many things, too many connections of characters, too many characters that are connected in too many unrealistic ways. Old friends, past grudges, happy families, hidden jealousies. 13 guests, one body. One guest won't leave this wedding alive. And each has a secret, each has a motive. Like I said, if you like The Hunting Party, you will like this. If you didn't like The Hunting Party, you will not like this. Very, very lots of similarities. I enjoy Lucy Foley's writing, but if all her books are the same like this, then you kind of predict it a bit more predictable. But yeah, this is a good 4 stars. Very good, but not one I'm going to keep. Now, the penultimate book that I read this month was A Room Called Earth by Madeline Ryan, which my sister Charlie lent to me. So this is one of my borrowed books. It is set over 24 hours, no, over an evening. It has an own voices. Apparently it's a neurodiverse author, and it really does talk about neurodiversity. And the lead character is neurodiverse. And it's a young woman gets ready for a party. She arrives feeling overwhelmed, leaves, then returns, minutely attuned to the people who come into her view. To me, the only voices part of that is, and the neurodiversity part in this is very, very well portrayed. I know people who are autistic, and some of the things that this character goes through is so, like, I can imagine it myself. And although I'm not autistic, I have some autistic traits because of my head injury. And some of the things that happen in this book I can totally relate to. So I thought this was a really good book, really fast paced, really set over time, very easy to read, and one I really did enjoy. And if you want own voices, if you want to read books about neurodiversity, this is done really well. So I will say that. And this book is already on this video is 23 minutes, and I've still got 5 more books to talk about. Oh dear, this is going to be a long video. It's going to be fun to upload this evening. The last book I read of the month is my 4.5 star book of the month, and that is The Secret of Midwives. Apparently, this is historical fiction. To me, it's a mixture of both. So, although I'm putting it as a historical fiction, it really is a both. What if those you cherished harboured a secret that could break you? Neva Bradley, a young midwife, has learnt that she's expecting. She's been present in magical stages of people's women's lives, but the weight of Neva's secret is beginning to bear down on her. And then you've got Neve's mother, Grace, who finds it impossible to let the secret of not knowing who Neva's dad is going to be. She wants to know who the dad is, and she's really struggling with her relationship with Neve. And then you've got Neva's grandmother, Floss, who's got her own secrets to tell, her own stories. And you've got the three different characters, different timelines, different mixed in, and it's done over, each chapter's got the different characters. They're interwoven beautifully. This is a fantastic book. It portrays midwifery done really well. It portrays strong family connections really well. I did not expect to love this as much as I did. It's 4.5 stars, but God, if it was pushing it, it could easily have been a 5 if I wasn't the fact that comparing it to my other 5 stars, I didn't quite necessarily want to keep this book, and that was what knocked it off me being a 5 star. But this is fan-flipping-tastic. I didn't guess who the dad was going to be. I didn't guess some of the twists. It is brilliant, brilliant book, and I thoroughly loved it. Apparently Sally Hepworth's got a new book that's out, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to look up more of this author's work, because this is a beautifully written book. But it's another one for the charity shop. Now, I've got 4 5-star books down here, and I will say 2 of them are my favourites for the month, because the other 5-star books that I read this month were rereads. So it's up to you. If you want to try and guess which out of these 4 are my favourite, two of my favourites, let me know in the comments below, but you don't have to. All I can say is all 4 of them are fantastic, and I bloody love them. Oh my goodness, I just love them. Okay, they're all fantastic. They all deserve 5 stars. The first one is The Last in the Victory for the Opshroom Girl series, which I can't talk too much about because it is the 3rd and last in the trilogy. And this one is centres around Jess, who is delighted to be reunited with her friends Evie and May, which we read in the other 2 books. And when a film company arrives to make a morale-boosting movie, the lead actor is none other than Leonard Steele, a man from Jess's past. And we understand Jess's secrets, and we find out a bit more about them. It connects all the other storylines really well, all the other girls' stories really well into this. The ending's fantastic. Thoroughly love this. I love this story. The Opshroom Girl story is fantastic because it really does portray the women that are in World War II in a brilliant way, because it's the Opshroom was where they had to use their brains, and we were very, it's just fantastic bloody book. I loved it. Keepy that. See, that's another keepy, so that's go to my keepy pile. Although this is 5 stars, but it's not going to be a kept one because it's a Kathy Glass book and I don't want to reread them. But this is about Kathy Glass fostering a girl called Melody, and she's aged 8. This is obviously non-fiction, it's real life. And her single mother was a long-term drug user who couldn't cope and had neglected her children. Yeah, I'd heard it all before. Melody starts talking about her mother, constantly worrying if she remembered to eat, or drink, or wash, or get out of bed. Many children come into care, worrying about the parents. But Melody's story is really tragic, but it's done really well. Kathy Glass is an amazing author. I'm picking up as many of her books to read as I can. They're fantastic. They're true life. It's heartbreaking to think about what happens to all these children that she's fostered, but you see them turn around, and that was when we used to foster. I used to love seeing the kids turn their lives around and going from really tragic, and to most of the time they have either happy endings or they change. Kathy Glass makes an imprint on their lives, and I would love to think that as foster carers, my mum and dad used to imprint on the children that we cared about lives. So brilliant. That's not much keepy because it's a foster care, but my charity shop's going to love me. Now this one is amazing. I beta read this for Charlie from Charles Heathcote. It's the last in the Doris books. It's Royally Doris. It will be edited by the time it gets published, so I can't give too much spoilers because it will be changed before it gets published. So I buddy read it with my sister Charlie, and we had to then tell the author what we thought of the books, and we had to give bits. But I will say this is the best in the series. He has ended the series on a high. If you've not read the Doris books, why not? You need to read them. They are the best books ever. I'm linking Charlie's channel below. It will tell you how to buy the books from him, which gives him more profits. He deserves all the credit because this is amazing. And when this gets released, you've all got to get it. It's the best book of the series and it's fantastic. You laugh, you cry, you fight for the characters, you want to shout and scream. There are definitely more emotions in this book, so be warned, there are definitely bits where you will get emotional and cry. I think me and Charlie, my sister, both cried on this. We both laughed our heads off. Harold is one of the best characters. His wife Doris is one of the best leading ladies ever. They've got great sub-characters, great family lines, great storylines. This is amazing, and when he publishes this, you have to get it. It's the best. Might even get a finalised copy myself because I loved it. Then last but not least is the first in the Percy Jackson books, the Percy Jackson and Lightning Thief, which I buddy read with the lovely Guy from Guy Athena. I was really nervous about going into this book because I'm not great on fantasy. I'm not great on books about the Greek gods, but this is fascinating, interesting, exciting. I laughed my head off. I couldn't want to put it down. Trust me, if it wasn't a buddy read, I would have flown through it even quicker. There are elements of the fact that it's a half god. This guy's a half blood, so obviously elements to the infamous historic characters we don't talk about. But he was half son of a Greek god, and the Greek god element I found fascinating. I learnt more about the Greek gods, and I loved that. There's some feisty characters in this. There's some fun bits. There's some betrayals. It's exciting. It's mysterious. It's a bit gory at times, but I loved it. It's bloody brilliant. Yeah. Just have to, I can't wait. I'm reading the Sea of the Monsters. This is the next book. I'll be reading that in April. Then it'll probably be June. Then August. Then October. Yeah. Every other month I'm going to be reading this. I can't wait to bloody read it. So yeah, pretty obvious. What do you think is going to be my favourite of the month? Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, these two are my favourites. The Doris and Percy Jackson. No question. They're both fantastic. Couldn't be more different, but could not be better. So, yes, I've been playing my hair all video. I can't help it. I love my new haircut. Sorry about that. But what's been your favourite books of the month? What books have surprised you in liking them? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.